Happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day as my horse, as mine is a
Happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day 2021.
Happy Women's Day to each and every woman. We go through a lot, we deserve it.
Happy Women's Day to everyone.
Mami kulibe atindiwe mwanakazi ungagwile nchito. Mami kulibe atindiwe mwanakazi ungagwile nchito.
Happy International Women's Day. Every 8th March is Women's Day. It is a day without we the men. My name is Mwapen Kolemwansa and welcome to this segment of Chasefu Town Council's Women and Chasefu District's Women as they get to discuss the International Women's Day for 2021. We get to join them on their table discussion as they get to talk about various issues of gender-based violence, the interpretation for the 2021 Women's Day theme, as well as child education and its need for a woman to find her place in society. Do enjoy.
We are here as women of Chasefu to discuss this year's Women's Day theme, which stipulates women in leadership achieving an equal future in a COVID-19 world. This pandemic has affected a lot of us in different ways. That is both females, males, everyone has been affected by this pandemic. I'm here with my colleagues. We as women are recognized and we need to also recognize that ourselves, and we need to partake in the celebration of Women's Day regardless of it being virtual. So I'm going to throw the ball at my colleagues.
My understanding of women in leadership, I think it trickles down from family. We are role models just from the family, the communities, and to the institutions where we're working from. Why I'm saying from the family, we are the mothers. We ensure that if we look at the COVID-19, we look at first the surrounding, the cleanliness of the surrounding, then we have to ensure that our children adhere to health guidelines. Each and every member in the family should adhere to health guidelines. As they go to school, they meet with other children, so they're supposed to be taught what they're supposed to do. Even while they're at school, they shouldn't forget to mask up, to sanitize, so that they're in line with the health guidelines. Then to the communities, I think as women we are involved in various activities at community level. I'll give an example of women's club. Those women clubs, you find that they are spearheaded by women. So each and every woman is aware that is supposed to take a leading role, so that we lobby from government even for resources, so that as women in leadership we are able to sustain ourselves. Then coming to COVID-19, even at community level, as we go to meetings and clubs, we're supposed to adhere to health guidelines. Then at institution level, you find that we've got a lot of women who are in leadership positions. According to me, I'll give an example where we are working from. We've got a lot of women who are holding positions that even men can hold, but you find that those positions have been given to women and they are able to work according to the expectations of the institution.
Well, interesting topic we have here, the theme for Women's Day 2021. So we are going to change the music a little bit where we start talking about girl child education, because for women to become leaders in society, it has to come from them being educated.
But the entire nation, when you educate a girl child, again you educate the entire nation. Why I've said so? I can give an example like now. I will give an example of the vice president. The vice president this time around is a lady. That is just because of education. Away from that, I'll give an example of myself. Myself, when I was in grade 9, parents, especially my father, felt it was not necessary for me to go to school. With the point of no matter how I can get educated, a man who's going to marry me, my husband, is going to be providing everything. So, meaning that when I get educated, I won't get employed because it's not my responsibility of providing to the home. So for them, in those days, they felt it was not necessary for a woman for a girl to get educated. But with time, when I wrote my grade 9 going to grade 10, my father became very happy. He was very happy because he never expected me to complete. Sometimes when I was doing grade 9, he would refer me to these other girls. Hey, can you see that one? He's married to this man. The man is able to provide. Whether you get educated, you're not going to get employment. He was even citing examples for those who completed, who were not in employment by then. Meaning that again he was saying, this time around there is no employment. No matter how you get educated, you won't get employment.
So it's like parents long time ago, they would assume educating a girl child is a sheer waste of money, resources, because no matter how educated a girl child gets, she will end up in a home where there is man providing for her, and she won't get to enjoy the privileges of education.
Yes. So when I completed my grade 4, I got employed. I started working in the lower position. From there, I upgraded myself until to the position where I am now. So it's not just like getting a job and forget. There are a lot involved in the employment. As I'm talking now, I belong to Zilao, of which I'm leading another group. I can come up with different ideas on what to do, but men are there. My workmates who are men, they are there. But I get also, I get the role on how we can run or on decision making in short. So I'm therefore encouraging these schoolgirls not to look at men, not to pay much attention to what the parents are saying, as in like, no, you get married, you can't continue school. They just have to stand to their grounds, as in getting the job at the end of the day. They should also emulate to our vice president, who is Inongewina right now. If they can emulate.
Okay, another interesting topic that we're going to discuss is gender-based violence. We have seen a lot of happenings even amidst COVID, because a lot of people have been confined in the walls of their homes. So you hear this one is fighting, this one is fighting, married people are divorcing because of such. So we are going to talk about gender-based violence and just what we understand about gender-based violence. It can be both sides. There are men who are beaten by their wives, and there are women who are beaten by their husbands. So we're going to discuss it on both angles.
If she is battered in the home, she will stand up and go to relevant authorities and be able to report. Now, if she is uneducated, she will keep everything to herself.
And think it's normal.
Yes. Of which it's not normal, because it ends up dividing the family. Even the growing up of the children is affected. Why is it affected? Because children will see it as it is normal. As they are growing up, they will take it that beating your wife, beating your husband is part of living in a home, of which is not the case. So let us insist in educating the girl child. Even the men themselves, because of lack of education, that's how that shyness comes in. You are battered by the wife, instead of taking up the step of reporting to relevant authority, you just keep it to yourself.
And that's where now women will say, if I go to police, who's going to keep me up? Because marriage will come to an end. At the end of the day, we'll be just being victimized every time. Such calamities.
And I think most of the time, you find that in the case where a man is the one who's being ill-treated or being beaten, I feel they are ashamed to go the police
yes.
or to talk about it because it's a man who's being beaten. And then also most of the women, even if they're being beaten by their husbands, they fail to go to the police because they're thinking this person is the provider. So now if they arrest him, so it still goes back to our theme where we're saying women in leadership. It still goes back to us talking about girl-child education, because if you're educated, you know your rights, you know all these things, so it will be very easy for you to actually tackle the issue of gender-based violence.
And just to come in on that point where you say the importance of girl child. Once you educate a girl child, that girl child is going to know her rights.
Yes.
Even if she's battered in the home.
Okay.
Well, my advice would be to ladies, to women out there, to men out there who are being abused in their homes, please stand up for yourselves. Gender-based violence, according to me, is not a normal way of living life. So let us stand up for ourselves so that we protect our wives, we protect our men, we protect our children, so that they know that this thing is not normal in families. At the end of it all, it's the family that suffers, it's the children that suffers. So let us stand up, let us know our rights so that we are able to report the gender-based violence. It doesn't mean when you report that's the end of marriage. No, you are just trying to exercise your rights. Once you go to relevant authorities, you'll be put down, you'll be sat down, they'll be cancelled, then life goes on.
So you educate a girl child, then you educate the nation.
So before we go out, I would like to ask the women on this table with me what encouraging words they can give the women out there this year's theme, which is Women in Leadership Achieving an Equal Future in COVID-19.
My words of encouragement to the women out there: don't be left out. Be part of development. You can do it. If we have managed to be where we are, then you can also do it. Managing something, it doesn't mean that you have to be in employment. You can even start up a business. Starting up a business doesn't mean that you have huge capital. You can start with little capital that you have. Then that business will start growing bit by bit. So my fellow women out there, my encouragement is, even those who are in formal employment, you find that they are working, they are doing business. What more with you who is just seated at home? Don't wait for your man to do everything. The world now has changed. So let us stand up for ourselves so that we also be part to support our family.
If you're not employed, you can even get the kichiwawa. You go in the market yourself. Come up with the fritters. Start making fritters. Get cassava. Cook. Then start selling. All those are the sources of money. So it's an encouragement to each and everyone. Don't just look at, no, that one is working, I can't do anything. All those are opportunities that as a woman you have to do.
And I think also when it comes to leadership, we should be encouraged, because evolving from the world of the 90s or the 80s or the 60s, we've seen that a lot of women have come up on the ladder of leadership. Like my colleague earlier stipulated, where we have a female vice president, we have a lot of female ministers.
We did not end there. This went on further. We just had to get the story from that daily winner, the woman that is out there selling in the market. We met with somebody in Lower Reziwat of Chasefu constituency just to explain how she interprets and sees the 2021 Women's Day in this time of COVID.
Women's Year 2021, this was a year of which to celebrate just because of the COVID-19. COVID-19 congestion. So, this thing is celebrated, but not to celebrate every year. This thing was malinga tamanya kuti ni Women's Day tachita celebrate wakanoti na mtushitira kuti bomachinga kukwenda chindonda ndiye machinga yayi saba tishitenge yayi kwa chakudi ntakuti azimai tentukire mchanya lero kulije kubeka na maso kumwanalume kuti mwanalume aisirenge kulivose yayi kukhala kwasono ngokwirana kwirana mwanalume angenere uku then mwanakazi angenere uku mose mwaika pamoja mwapanga kuchimbi chorongosoka chifukwa ngati kubeka nawo kaulia mwanalume anivwirenge sometimes ukhala alije ndrama pamaliro uzamuyamba ukhala wakatuulwa kwa wakhala basi ayayo onsunga makola akasina emnyako alije ndrama so kupenyeka kuti uyangenera uku mwamvwirana mwasungira pamoja vana ntchito ya mwanalume pera yayi tose tabiri mwanalume ngati akasanga kandrama achitako boosting smile kuti naye alitepo pantazi na business kuba nyengo zinyake mwanalume andachite vindu kulongosoka yayi so mtima wokupya mwanakazi chimachaye nyengo zinyake aluda au tipa nyumba talitepo vakulya more especially ngati naye mwanakazi ngokolakola yayi mbweni shakalenge na njala ndende nafumenge uko mwanalume dizi mpe vakulya so andalikepo vakulya mwanalume mwanakazi apulike uko so nikupenge pesi ngamwamulekera po vakulya inaweza so bembala wapole walishina kongono walije kaiye kuyoya kwake kuwenge kongena kumtima mwanakazi azereza watu mwanakazi waperformenge awe bose nivuemyayo chayana yayo vana vanakazi openjeka kuti valutengi skulu noti vo vatengweska fast yayi chifukwa ngati atengwa fast ngati ali under age atengwa akhala na nthumbo bwenu pobaba ngasankana problem sometimes akuchita operation kainchi koma apitirize school sometimes yachita mpuvi yawo atola nthumbo batira walitengoka kutengwa komwana ni mdogo bwe chirachoneka makwaya koma walera mwana nomtumaso kuskula kuti akapitirize school koma ikekozera ku school noti vanalume vamukuvasanga kunhazi kuona chifukwa ngati wasambira vose kukhala papafupi ngati wasambira waluta ku college wamba kuseleza wamkhala makola mu moyo wako lo parents wafwe wamkhala makola kai ono mwanalume palije alilenge but problem yake ko donga tokola ko ndrama upabana kuti ulili mwanalume ukuulireso ndrama muona ndichwalira babili hapo koma ngati uliko wasambirako ukuselezako at least ne mazoyane yokunisike kwa zinayo Chasefu chentukire mtanya business then dishtenga doba utasangako utachita kenkala kapulisike ngika business kitako mpaka tute pantazi momomo nimotilamanya kusungira vana kutumira vana ku skulu chikuvwirana pamoja na wasipamo wika watina.
Yeah, the impact this year, us as women are looking at it to say that they have told us that we also have to observe the COVID-19 guidelines. Actually, it is very true because if we lose a lot of people, it is us, the women, who are the first people to cry. It is us, the women, who are actually affected. So in this COVID-19 era, even as we are celebrating our Women's Day, I'm urging each and every woman out there, let us make sure that we follow the guidelines that are given to us. Let us mask up and let us make sure that we follow the social distance. Let us make sure in every place, if women are going to be there, let us make sure to say that we follow all the guidelines, not only following all the guidelines, but we follow them to the latter, because this disease is a killer disease. It has proved to us that it is killing a lot of people. As women, let us make sure, and moreover, it has been told to us that there has no public gatherings. The best is let us follow. If there are radio stations, let us switch on our radio stations. Let us hear from our friends. Let us hear on the TV, and let us make sure that at all costs we make sure that we follow the guidelines. And we have been told this year to say that there should be no public gatherings. We are going to follow that as women. I know sometimes it's not easy. This is the custom we have been used to, that we should always be holding these celebrations. But this is another time, and for us to achieve as women, let us show a good example.